depths of slumber as I ascend the spiral stairway of wakefulness, I will whisper, separation from thee. I will taste thee and mentally say, God, God, God. No matter where I go, the spotlight of my mind will ever keep turning on me. And in the battle din of activity, my silent war cry will be God, God. When boisterous storms of trials shriek, and when worries howl at me, I will drown their noises, loudly chanting, God, God, God. When my mind weaves dreams, with threads of memories, on that magic cloth will I emboss every night in time of deepest sleep, when my peace dreams and calls joy, joy, my joy comes singing evermore. In waking, eating, working, dreaming, sleeping, serving, meditating, chanting, divinely loving, my soul will constantly hum, unheard by any. And this is week 47, Reincarnation, the spiral staircase. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self-within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. In the book of Revelation, chapter 3, Jesus Christ tells us, "Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out." There is a difference between church dogmas, which are based on reasoned deductions from scriptural statements, and the pronouncements of wisdom, which are based on the inner realization of scriptural truths. Reason, like a train, can only follow already existing tracks of human experience. Human memory, being short, is seldom able to cross back over the threshold of a person's present existence. Biblical references to previous lifetimes on earth are overlooked in the deductive process, and we find them therefore excluded from the body of official dogma. Nevertheless, such references exist. The Bible itself presents them, as does Jesus in this passage, not as abstract teaching, but as direct personal perception of truth. In the same way, Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, silences Arjuna's reasonable doubts on the subject, not by reasoned argument, but by the frank statement contained in the 4th chapter of that great scripture. "Arjuna, you and I have passed through many births. I know all of them, though you, O chastiser of foes, recall them not." Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
It's interesting how we sometimes prepare for these talks before we even realize that we're going to be giving them. I had a dream a couple of weeks ago about reincarnation that was really interesting. It was a dream of a past life memory, and in that dream, I was hurting someone in the exact way that that person has hurt me in this lifetime. And I woke up actually not like, oh my God, that was horrible. It was extreme relief. And I was like, wow, why do I feel so good after this dream? And I realized it was a knowing of that there's no randomness in this world. So we can get into the thought of, why is she treating me that way? What did I ever do to her? Or, woe is me. Why me? I'm a good person. But when we have these remembrances, it's like, oh, that's why. I did the same thing. And maybe it wasn't in this lifetime, but maybe it was in another lifetime. It really doesn't matter if we believe in reincarnation or not. We do enough things in this lifetime that there's plenty to work on. But let's just accept in our minds for at least this next 20 minutes or so that reincarnation is a truth. This dream led me to the thought, why don't we all remember our past lives? Because for me, it brought this comfort and this understanding of why I would have been treated this way. And it's interesting because Yogananda actually addressed that, and he said, we don't remember our past lives because we would figure out the game too quickly, or something to that effect, that we would call Divine Mother's bluff and say, hey, wait a minute, this looks really familiar. What's going on? Get me out of here. But if that were the only reason, it would be kind of mean of Divine Mother to say, I'm just going to keep you in this game of creation and for my own amusement. But Divine Mother doesn't have that sick of a sense of humor. There's also a lot of other reasons. Now think about for a moment, if you could remember all of the mistakes you've made for countless incarnations, suddenly, boom, there they were, laid out right in front of you. It might be pretty overwhelming, probably for all of us, absolutely for all of us. We've all made mistakes, even in this lifetime. If it was laid out right in front of you, you'd be like, oh God, get it away. But not only would it be overwhelming, it might also lead to the thought of, wow, I can't go anywhere or do anything without the possibility of running into some past life enemy of mine that's going to want to take revenge on me and chop my head off or burn me at the stake or whatever it might be. So we forget. And thank God we forget. Because it's a new opportunity. It's a new beginning. It's a chance to be who we really are, which is a child of God. All this other stuff that we've done, all this other stuff that we think we are just layers of crud that we get trapped in delusion. We start messing with Maya, and there it is, layer after layer, gunk after gunk. We think this is who we are. So, you could also think about a dream. Say every time you went to sleep, your dream was just a continuation of the dream that you had the night before. It would kind of get boring, wouldn't it? Or if you read a novel, and every novel you picked up was just a continuation of the same novel, and just a never-ending novel. Not very fun. But that's why that's our entertainment, is these new stories, because our life is like that too. It's a new opportunity for really a beautiful story. And are we going to make the story beautiful or not? Coming on the spiritual path is like a new incarnation. I've referred to things in my past as a previous incarnation. It's kind of fun to think of it that way, because it's like, it feels like a lifetime ago, because we do change. We are different. And a lot of times, and it's not just at Ananda, but many religious paths have this thing where you can take a new name. You can take on a spiritual name. And that's kind of fun, not for the fact that you could possibly get a really cool name, but because it's, again, this chance for a new beginning. And I was thinking about our names and how they can carry a lot of baggage with them. Just even on a very mundane level, if you go onto Facebook, create your Facebook account, you put in your name, probably you'll have friends from 10 or 20 years previous trying to befriend you, and hey, do you remember when we did such and such, and oh, wasn't that funny, blah, blah, you know, and we go back into that for a moment, and it's like, oh, that was fun, or oh God, that was horrible, you know. So even just our names can carry that energy of our past. I was really happy when I got on Facebook and I was able to put in my spiritual name and nobody but my guru bhais recognized me, because I don't want to relive my high school years. I do not want to go there. There's plenty that I would like to move on and forget. Now, it's important to distinguish, obviously, are we just wanting to assume a new identity so that we can just run away from our mistakes? Or are we using it as an opportunity for remembering what our true goal is? Because we do have to take responsibility for what we've done, but Yogananda was really clear not to beat ourselves up, not to dwell on our mistakes, and not to worship our mistakes. That we recognize we made a mistake, and we learn from that, we grow from that, and we let it go. Because what does it do to affirm more? It's easy to see how if we're continuing to dwell on how great we were and wow, we won first place in the 50-yard dash in first grade. It's like, okay, you need to get over yourself, Let's move on. But that's easy to see. And it's easy to see an egomaniac that's just like all about him or herself. But the opposite is also true. The Yogananda said we need to get over a superiority complex or an inferiority complex. And this is the same with our achievements and failures. We need to get over it, and we need to recognize God is the doer in all things. That God is speaking through me. God is looking at me through all of you. That everything we do is God. And Yogananda had a beautiful way of saying this that ties into reincarnation. He said that when we achieve moksha or freedom in this lifetime, that it's like a fan. We unplug the fan, and so we're not creating new karma. We're not attracting new karma that has to be dealt with, worked out, and all this. But the blade still keeps turning for a while after you've unplugged it. And in that time, we go through all of our past lifetimes, and we see that even in those lifetimes where maybe we were the worst sinner we could possibly imagine, that it was God doing it through us. And I can't really fathom that now, but I did have a little glimpse of it once where, if you've seen or read about near-death experiences, and they talk about it's sort of this universal experience of that their life plays out right in front of them. It's just like a cinema, just image after image of their whole life just in an instant, just flashes before them. And I had that happen once in meditation, just for an instant, where it was like, just like that, but it was lifetimes. And I was thinking, whoa, this is part of that. I couldn't say that I went through those lifetimes and said, oh yeah, God is the doer, God is the doer, wow, and suddenly I was free. No, but it was like a little glimpse into how that would work. It isn't that we relive all those lifetimes, it's just that it can play right through us, and we just have that pure acknowledgement that, okay, now I can move on, now I can let that go, now I can just let it all go and be free. I wanted to close with this whisper from eternity by Yogananda. This is the prayer demand for removing the cork of ignorance. No more shall my consciousness remain bottled in this little vessel of flesh, corked with ignorance. No more will I remain moving through the sea of cosmic consciousness, night and day, years, decades, and how many incarnations, so close, yet never able to contact thy sea. Through the bursting vibration of cosmic sound and the surging of thy holy name, I have removed the cork of ignorance which so long separated me from thee, though we lived together so closely. Now my body consciousness will meet thy all-surrounding, all-pervading consciousness. No longer will I walk heedlessly in thee, but never knowing and feeling thee. Thine image within me shall meet thine image everywhere. By releasing the I-ness in me, I will know that I am thou, and that thou alone art the little egos of us all.